It is Frankie Boyer. There's a new book out, and I think it's a really important book. It's called The Friction Factor, The Busy Person's Guide to Sustainable Diet and Exercise. And joining us today is a man that is really passionate about getting us to understand the power of movement. Tyler Martin, welcome to the program.
Hey, Frankie, thanks for having me.
Tyler, give us a real rundown of why you wanted to write this book and how we can take these, because we're all running in different directions. And if we don't build it into our time schedule, guess what? It doesn't happen, does it?
Absolutely not. And that's why I'm so passionate about this issue. I really want to challenge the conventional approach that people take to exercising and dieting, because I think it gets something wrong. We're so focused on trying to find new ways to get ourselves motivated. If I only had enough motivation, then I'd be able to do what I know I need to do to get myself healthier. And the whole book and my work is all focused on teaching busy people how they can learn to build diet and exercise habits that they can actually stick with for a lifetime. And the secret to this is learning to eliminate friction. Friction is the inefficient use of time or energy in a fitness process. So if you can learn to eliminate those major sources of friction, like the drive time to get to the gym, or the amount of time it takes to count calories and do meal planning, then you make a process that's much more repeatable and much easier to turn into a habit. And that's ultimately what you need to do in order to make long-term lifestyle change.
And you make it sound so easy.
Well, it's not easy, but there's a method to how you can reach that point, because once you have formed a habit, things do get easier. I mean, think about anything that you do every day on a routine basis that is a habit. You don't have to think about it, right? You tying your shoes, driving to work. These are things that we just go through the motions, and we really don't have to put a lot of psychological effort or thinking into doing these things. That's where you want to reach with dieting and exercising. So if you can take fitness routines, and we can talk about some recommendations for specifically how to do this, but if you can find some repeatable routines that you can stick with for a 66-day period of time, that's the average amount of time that the research shows that it takes to form a new habit. So if you can hang in there and be consistent for that amount of time, things do start to feel easier. They start to feel automatic. And that's when you can really start to see the results compound over time.
Tyler, is walking, if someone says, I walk every day, I'm committed to walking 20 to 30 miles a week, is that enough, or do they need to start doing more with weights and all of that? But walking is a good beginning, don't you think?
Sure. I would never discourage anybody from doing any kind of exercise that they can maintain it and keep up with. But my work is specifically focused on teaching people how to get the most bang for their buck out of their time. And so if you live a busy lifestyle, which so many people do, you want to make sure you're doing the types of exercises that are going to get the most productivity in the shortest amount of time. So I recommend that people do short daily workouts that are no more than 20 minutes. And I do recommend that they include both strength training and cardiovascular exercise within the same workout. That's going to allow you to get the basic benefits of health and fitness most efficiently and help you build habits easier than the conventional approach, which is, to drive to the gym 3 to 5 times a week and do a longer workout that's maybe an hour or 90 minutes.
I have to agree with you. I do my arm routine in a very short amount of time, a few times a week, and I'm shocked at how little the time it takes, but I'm very concentrated in what I do, and I'm very focused, and I go through it. But it takes, it's not like I'm just going to go through it. It's like a mindfulness about it.
Yeah, and the body is really interesting. So when we do any kind of exercise, what we're ultimately trying to do is we're trying to force our body to make an adaptation. You're giving it a challenge, and if you challenge it to a certain point, the body will say, "Oh, I need to grow back stronger. I need to become, more efficient so that next time this isn't as difficult." It's a survival mechanism. And so if you're using the right amount of concentration and doing the right exercises and the right intensity, like you're saying, your body will adapt. And so it doesn't take as much time as people think to reach that point if you're being really intentional and you're doing the right things.
Can you give us some more tips that you write about in the new book, The Friction Factor, please?
Sure, absolutely. So when it comes to exercises in particular, I'll just give some principles here that can be helpful. So when it comes to strength training exercises, in the spirit of getting the most bang for your buck, what I really recommend that people focus on are what are called compound exercises. So any type of movement that uses multiple joints all in one movement. So this is a squatting motion from the floor, or a forward pressing motion like a bench press, or even a push-up. These activate multiple muscle groups all in one movement. And what that means is that you don't have to do as many different strength training exercises because you're doing more work all in one movement. So that's a huge time saver.
I like that. I like that a lot. And for those of us that need to push ourselves, is it best to always get a trainer?
So I think it really depends on how much experience you have exercising. I wouldn't say it's a necessity that everybody get a trainer. I like to see people reach a point where they're independent, where they understand the exercises that they need to do, and that they can kind of, go about their business and stick to their normal routine. But if you're not familiar with things like strength training or some of the particular exercises that I recommend, it can definitely be helpful for a period of time to get a coach or a trainer to learn the techniques and get comfortable with them, and then you can start to become self-sufficient.
And how long, give us again the time it takes to create a new habit.
So the average is 66 days. I think if you look at the study that I'm pulling this from, said with some people it was as short as 18 days, and then others it was a little bit longer than 66 days. But 66 days is that average period. And that's when things should start to feel easier. Like, hey, I don't have to think about each one of these things step by step.
This is wonderful information. Thank you so much. Give us the best website.
Sure. Yeah. If you're interested in learning more about me or the book, you can go to frictionfactorfitness.com, and you can order the book there and also sign up for my newsletter. It's frictionfactorfitness.com.
Thank you so much, Tyler. And thank all of you. This has been another edition of the Frankie Boyer Show for Biz Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day, everybody. And as always, smile. And if you smile through your fears and sorrow, smile. And maybe tomorrow you'll see that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.